Paper Mario: The Origami King is the latest entry in a popular series of games, starting with Paper Mario back on the Nintendo 64. The first two games were considered the best among fans, with the last two being considered some of the worst, with a lot of people being split on if the third game was one of the best three or the start of the decline of the series. I've been playing The Origami King since launch day, and I'd really just like to talk about this game, what I like about it, what I don't like about it, and my overall thoughts on the game. Don't worry, if you haven't played it and are planning to, there won't be any spoilers in this video. Anyway, let's get right into it. The first two games had an experience system, unique characters, a unique story, and a unique world. The third game in the series dished the experience system, but had a stronger story overall, and still a strong world, and it also kept permanent boots and a permanent hammer, which is why it's still often considered one of the best games in the series. The last two games in the series, Sticker Star and Color Splash, just kinda threw all the stuff away that fans loved about the first two games, and was like, here, have turn-based Mario 3D Land. You no longer had a permanent hammer or boots, instead you had to find items around the map, like hammers and boots and fire flowers, that were one use, and then they were gone forever, until you could find new ones. There's also a lack of an experience system and no real use for coins, so there wasn't really a reason to go into normal battles. You could just save your weapons until boss battles, where you'd unleash everything you can saving. Now that I've given a very short summary of the series' history, let's talk about Origami King. Elements from the first games that were absent in the last two have finally returned. One of those, which I'm personally glad returned, was an unbreakable hammer and boots, so if you ran out of items like you could in Color Splash and Sticker Star, you would no longer have to just run from the battle and get more hammers and boots before you could actually go back into a battle. Now, of course, there's still items and tiered weapons you can get like shiny and flashy hammers and boots, which do an increased amount of damage, but now they're not just one use, they have more than one durability. One flashy hammer might be able to last through an entire boss battle and maybe even longer after that. There are also one-use items, I should say, like fire flowers, but you don't need to use those at all, it's just another way to attack. And this really fits well within the ring system, which is the new combat system. About the ring system though, I really like it. I was worried it would just be something easy at the beginning of the game, that you just walk right through, you just solve the puzzle pretty easily, jump through them, there wouldn't really be a point to do that or whatever. But as I went on, I realized there's a point to battle, and these battles got a little harder. And even if you have enough experience, you don't even have to go into these battles. You can just jump on an enemy or use your hammer to smack him, and instantly kill them on the overworld, which is a really nice touch. Boss battles are also really fun to do, and they're not really like traditional battles. You go through, instead of being in the center, you go around, leading up to the enemy, leading up to the boss, and every boss has a different strategy. So usually you can't just go in with the same exact strategy every single time, you'll have to think it through and think, what would be effective on this boss? Also, when I started the game, I was worried that there would be too much use of motion controls throughout the game, through the use of the 1000-fold arms, but it ended up being a really nice touch that was mainly just used around the time of boss battles and after boss battles. You also get coins from battling, which if you have all accessories and collectibles and all the weapons you'll need, then of course there won't be need to battle anymore, but you'll probably not be feeling like that until the end of the game. All accessories are thousands of coins. Some accessories are like 5,000 to 8,000 coins, which can drain your balance very quickly. The best boots and hammers in the game are even thousands of coins, which if you've just bought some accessories, you might need to go and battle a few more enemies just to get those weapons. The world and story also felt like it had depth, which was really refreshing, after especially Sticker Star's world revolving mainly around toads. The open world-ish area was a really nice thing. It kind of reminded me of Mario Odyssey, where you'd be put in an area and you'd have to do a certain task, but at any point you could go back to the previous worlds. And in Paper Mario's case, you could go back to Toad Town to buy new weapons and stuff like that, and quickly go right back. The soundtrack of this game is also really, really good. The battle music changes depending on which area you're in, because there are quite a few different areas of the game. The battle music also changes if you're selecting a weapon, or if you're attacking an enemy with a weapon. Overall, the battle music is really good, along with every other song in the soundtrack. I don't think there was really one song that I was just sick of. Every song was a joy to hear. The writing and humor in this game are also really good. All of the toads that you can say in the overworld usually have something funny to say, or something helpful to say, which can be a variety of things before running off. Sometimes some of the toads that you'll save will even help you out through the game. There are also quite a few references to other games. I actually found a few Zelda references myself. So there are two references I want to talk about here. The first one being the trial of wisdom, power, and courage, and then you'd get an orb from completing them. Triforce, anyone? Trials from Breath of the Wild, maybe? The open sea could also very well be a reference to Wind Waker, which had an open sea just in the style of Paper Mario's. All of your encounters with Luigi are helpful to you in some way. You'll usually get some sort of random key he'll find. Luigi thinks he's finally found the key to Princess Peach's castle, but no, he definitely hasn't. And it's also usually funny to see how Luigi thinks he screwed everything up because he hasn't found the key to Princess Peach's castle, even though he's super far away from Princess Peach's castle. I'm not sure why it's funny, but it just really is. Partners are also back for the most part, doing damage in battle, interacting with your partner Olivia because Mario doesn't talk for whatever reason, or some of Bowser's minions through dialogue, which is really nice to see because partners weren't in Sticker Star or Color Splash. The confetti mechanic is also a really nice touch. I don't think it's required very much, but it's a really nice thing. It's fun to use. You're going to be using it a lot if you want to 100% the game, or if you want the game to be easier in any way. Also, whenever you're talking to a folded enemy, like for example, that opening cutscene when you're talking to Folded Peach, their text box is folded and crumpled, and anyone that's made out of paper has a normal text box which isn't folded or crumpled. This game has a lot of small details and small things like that, which just make it really good. One of the main things I liked was how many small details there were. The good writing, stuff like that. And the last good thing I want to talk about is 100%ing the game. Finding every toad and every collectible. I didn't expect that to be fun, I'll be honest. But it actually is. And the Toad Bell, which is one of the accessories you'll get early on in the game, it'll start ringing whenever you're near a toad, and sometimes I'll just be like, I should run around and try to find this toad if I want to 100% the game, or if I just want to get some support in battle, because you can have them cheer you on in battle, and they'll help you out sometimes too. Now, I think I've made it more than clear that I enjoyed this game, but there were a lot of things I didn't like. The first 30 minutes of the game were boring. Up until you get to Toad Town, it's boring. I mean, the humor and writing is still there, but it's mainly tutorials. It was teaching me how to use confetti, teaching me the proper ways to battle, teaching me how to push all the buttons, jump, use the hammer, all whatever that stuff is. It was pretty much just a big tutorial up until I got to Toad Town. And this is one thing that I'm kind of upset about because I enjoy replaying games. However, it's going to suck to have pretty much a 30-minute long tutorial. And even though it is easy at the start, like, it's pretty much easy the whole start of the game, but it's still fun. Like, after you get to Toad Town, the game gets pretty fun. However, you might have like 5,000 coins by the time you get to Toad Town, and you can't really do anything with that because it'll be a while before shops unlock. So you can't really do anything with coins because there won't be any shops. And then this is just a little nitpicky thing, but the water's normally paper, but on Autumn Mountain it's realistic. I mean, it looks good, but why is it realistic? Paper, like when you're riding down the waterfall? And probably the worst part, there are soft locks, and there are some glitches. And one of my friends got soft locked through the most popular soft lock because I'm gonna assume he wanted to buy some new weapons before he tried to go in that new area, and then he couldn't go back in there. There's also one collectible toad, which is just made completely unavailable if you don't get it in time, basically. If you leave that area and you don't collect that toad, it's basically gone forever. These are some things that really, really, really need to be fixed in a future patch. These didn't happen to me personally, but I feel bad for my friend that's experienced this and anyone else that this has happened to. And overall, I enjoyed it. It's a lot better than Sticker Star and Color Splash for sure, but I'm not sure it's as good as my personal favorite, which would be Super Paper Mario, but I still really enjoyed the game. The combat was actually pretty fun, which I didn't think would happen. Overall, I had a really nice time playing the game. Overall, those are just my opinions. Feel free to share your opinions on the game down below. I really liked it. I'd love to know what you thought about the game. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe. Peace out.